Welcome to another episode of Marine Science Facts. Coral reefs are among Earth's most productive and valuable ecosystems. They occupy less than 1% of the ocean floor, but support roughly a quarter of all marine species. The reasons we need coral reefs span ecology, economy, climate resilience, human health, and culture. Below, I explain those reasons in clear, practical detail so you can see how deeply reefs are woven into natural systems and human well-being. Ecological foundations and biodiversity. Coral reefs are biodiversity engines. Reef structures created by hard corals provide complex three-dimensional habitats, crevices, overhangs, ledges, that support thousands of species of fish, invertebrates, algae, sponges, and microbes. That structural complexity increases niche diversity, which in turn stabilizes food webs and enhances ecosystem resilience. Many reef animals are reef obligate. They complete life cycles on or around reefs and cannot survive elsewhere. Reefs also host symbiotic relationships, for example, corals and their photosynthetic symbionts, that underpin primary production in nutrient-poor tropical waters. Losing reefs therefore removes habitat, collapses local food chains, and reduces global marine biodiversity. Fisheries and food security. Coral reefs are critical nursery, feeding, and breeding grounds for economically and nutritionally important fish and shellfish. Juvenile stages of many coastal fish species shelter in reef habitats before moving to open water or coastal fisheries. For millions of people, particularly in low-income, tropical coastal communities, reef-associated fisheries are a primary source of protein and livelihoods. Declines in reef health translate quickly into reduced fish catches, food insecurity, and loss of income for fishers and communities that depend on nearshore harvests. Coastal protection and hazard risk reduction. The physical structure of reefs acts as a natural breakwater. Reefs dissipate wave energy, reduce storm surge, and limit coastal erosion. Studies show that healthy reef crests can reduce wave height substantially before waves reach shore, protecting beaches, mangroves, and coastal infrastructure. For low-lying island nations and densely populated coastal cities, this protective service is measurable in lives saved, reduced property damage, and lower disaster recovery costs. Replacing reef protection with engineered defenses is expensive, often less effective ecologically, and unsustainable at scale. Blue economy and tourism revenue. Reef tourism, diving, snorkeling, sport fishing, coastal recreation, is an enormous economic sector in many countries. Tourism creates direct employment, guides, boat operators, hotels, and indirect benefits, restaurants, transport, crafts. Healthy reefs attract visitors and support local economies. Degraded reefs cause rapid tourism declines and lost revenue. For some small island states, reef tourism is a cornerstone of national GDP. Beyond tourism, reefs support industries like aquarium trade and sustainable fisheries that feed regional markets. Carbon cycling, biogeochemistry, and climate services. Coral reefs influence local and regional carbon and nutrient cycles. Reef calcification sequesters inorganic carbon in calcium carbonate frameworks. Reef ecosystems also host primary producers that fix organic carbon. While reefs are not the largest global carbon sinks, mangroves, seagrasses, and forests store proportionally more organic carbon per area. They are integral parts of coastal carbon dynamics and interact with blue carbon habitats that provide strong climate mitigation services. Moreover, the health of reefs is a sensitive indicator of ocean acidification and warming, making them crucial for monitoring climate change impacts on marine chemistry. Nurseries for ecosystem recovery and genetic diversity. Reefs function as genetic reservoirs. High species diversity on reefs contains genetic variants that may confer tolerance to higher temperatures, acidification, or disease. These genetic resources are essential for natural adaptation and for human-led restoration efforts, for example, selective propagation of heat-tolerant corals. Protecting reefs preserves the raw material for resilience and potential restoration across broader marine landscapes. Human health and biomedical potential. Coral reef organisms are a rich source of bioactive compounds. Over decades, researchers have isolated molecules from sponges, corals, mollusks, and microbes that show promise against cancer, bacterial infections, inflammation, and other diseases. The reef biome is effectively a library of biochemical diversity. Losing reefs reduces opportunities for future medical discoveries. Cultural, social, and spiritual value. For many coastal peoples, coral reefs are central to identity, customs, traditional knowledge, and subsistence culture. Reefs hold spiritual meanings, guide navigation, and influence folklore and practices. The loss of reefs, therefore, has cultural dimensions, eroding heritage, social cohesion, and traditional livelihoods. Scientific knowledge and education. Reefs are natural laboratories for understanding evolution, ecology, symbiosis, and climate change. They provide visible, measurable responses to warming, acidification, pollution, and overfishing, which makes them vital for research, education, and public engagement about environmental change. Lessons learned on reefs inform conservation in other ecosystems. Cost-effectiveness of natural infrastructure. Economically, investing in reef protection and restoration often delivers high returns relative to engineered alternatives. The avoided costs of storm damage, lost fisheries, and degraded tourism can far exceed the expenses of reef conservation. Thus, reefs are practical, cost-effective components of climate adaptation strategies for many coastal regions. Why action matters now. Reefs are subject to accelerating threats: ocean warming, bleaching, acidification, pollution, overfishing, destructive fishing practices, coastal development, and invasive species. The combined and interacting nature of these threats reduces reef resilience and can push systems toward ecological thresholds that are difficult to reverse. Preserving reefs requires both local measures, fisheries management, pollution control, marine protected areas, restoration, and global action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The cost of inaction is lost biodiversity, reduced coastal protection, collapsed fisheries, and cultural erosion. Outcomes that are expensive, often irreversible, and disproportionately damaging to the most vulnerable human communities. In short, coral reefs are indispensable. They sustain biodiversity, feed people, protect coasts, support economies, advance science and medicine, and anchor cultural identities. Protecting them is not optional conservationism. It is a pragmatic strategy to preserve essential ecosystem services that directly support human security, health, and prosperity. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave it a thumbs up and hit that notification bell to never miss out on any ocean stories. Let us know in the comments section which ocean facts you want to hear next.